On the surface, it looks like, another big tech layoff story,
Yep.
downsizing.
Right. Standard stuff, seemingly.
Exactly.
Right.
But our mission here is to dig deeper, look past that headline number. Because what we're seeing isn't just layoffs, it feels like a fundamental restructuring. Maybe the clearest signal yet of a massive strategic pivot, all driven by AI.
That's a really important distinction to make right off the bat. Because, yeah, the surface story is the company cutting around 14,000 corporate jobs.
Yep.
And just for context, that's roughly 4% of their corporate workforce, which is huge, about 350,000 people globally.
Wow, okay.
And the official line, from the internal comms we've seen, talks about reducing bureaucracy, cutting layers.
Yeah.
But the key phrase is reallocating resources to their, quote, biggest bets.
Reallocating. That's the word that jumps out. That doesn't sound like just hunkering down, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It sounds offensive, not defensive.
Yeah.
But I got to ask, the question probably on a lot of listeners' minds. 14,000 jobs cut. I mean, isn't that just what big companies do when things look a bit uncertain economically? How do we know this isn't just, cost-cutting wrapped up in fancy AI talk?
It's the right question. And look, if it were purely cost-cutting, you'd expect different signals, right? Like a broad hiring freeze across the board, maybe flashing capital spending everywhere, general belt tightening. What we're seeing seems more surgical. It's redistribution. And then you have the CEO, Andy Jassy, coming out and saying, generative AI is, and I'm quoting here, the most transformative technology we've seen since the internet.
That's a strong statement.
It's huge. That kind of language suggests they genuinely believe they have to restructure now to actually lead whatever this AI transformation is, not just react to it later.
Okay, so the conviction level is high. If they're shifting resources to these biggest bets, we need to know what they actually are. It can't just be a vague idea. Where's the focus? Where's the money going?
Yeah, it's flowing straight into the AI engine, basically. The bets are pretty specific. We're talking developing their own large language models, the really foundational stuff.
Right, the core tech.
Exactly. Building out the specialized hardware too, custom chips, silicon design just for AI tasks. That's a massive investment. And, crucially, they're building the internal tools and platforms so that everyone left can use AI in their jobs. Or they're kind of defunding the old way to fund the new AI way.
Defunding maintenance to fund innovation.
Mm.
Okay, so let's look at where the cuts actually landed first. That should tell us something about which roles they see as maybe most immediately vulnerable to this AI shift right now.
Good point. The initial hit, from what's reported, landed heavily on administrative and support functions. Specifically, the HR group, they call it PXT, People Experience and Technology, that group apparently faced cuts around 15%.
15% in HR, or PXT, that's significant. Why there? For people maybe not deep in HR, what parts of that job are so exposed to AI right now?
Yeah. Well, think about the really high volume, maybe repetitive tasks that global HR handles, like screening thousands of resumes initially,
Okay, yeah.
drafting standard internal announcements, handling common employee questions about benefits, maybe through chatbots first, providing that first level of basic support. GenAI tools are getting really good at exactly those kinds of things.
Right.
So it potentially frees up the remaining HR people for more complex stuff, like tricky employee relations or strategic talent planning, at least in theory.
And it also sends a message to everyone else still there. Like those instructions you mentioned for the devices, Division, Kindle, Fire, Echo teams.
Yeah, the memos basically told them to lean in on AI and really focus on work that directly impacts the customer.
So the underlying message seems to be, if your job isn't building the AI or using AI to innovate directly for the customer, maybe watch out. Your role might be under review.
That feels like the takeaway. Absolutely. The mindset shift seems to be, if we can automate a task, we probably should, to free up people for things machines can't do. Real creativity, complex judgment, human connection. That's the difference between just making things a bit more efficient and a total strategic rethink.
Okay, so if we accept this is a major strategic pivot, not just trimming the edges, this is where the sources hint at something much, much bigger. Beyond these initial 14,000 corporate roles, we're shifting focus now from the office to the warehouses, the fulfillment centers, and the numbers here are just kind of staggering.
They really are. You have to remember the sheer scale of this company's logistics network. It's global, it's vast, and the internal documents suggest the level of automation they're aiming for there is ambitious. This isn't just adding a few more robots.
Okay, let's pause on that. Let it sink in.
Yeah.
What kind of automation target are we talking about?
It's aggressive. For certain parts of their logistics operations, the target they're reportedly looking at is up to 75% automation.
75%. Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's not incremental. That implies what? AI running whole warehouses?
Pretty much sophisticated orchestration. And this leads to the number that, frankly, everyone should probably be paying attention to, the potential impact on human jobs in that sector.
Okay, what's the number?
Based on the material, the projection is the avoidance or replacement of up to 600,000 U.S. roles by 2027.
Wait, 600.
1,000?
600,000. Specifically in their U.S. logistics, warehouse, and fulfillment operations?
Yeah.
Driven by robotics and AI?
600,000 jobs in just a few years. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a ripple. That's a potential tsunami in the labor market. For you listening, just to put 600,000 in perspective, that's bigger than the entire city workforce of many major American cities combined.
It's profound, and it underlines why we have to frame this as more than just efficiency or cost cutting. When a company this size internally plans for displacement on that scale, it signals that the speed of automation might be hitting a new gear. They're not just digitizing tasks anymore. They're potentially eliminating the need for whole categories of tasks.
Exactly. And the people who do them.
So, connecting this all together,
Yeah.
this feels like the really crucial point for you listening, whether you manage a team or you're just starting out. This level of automation, hitting both corporate roles like HR and warehouse roles, it means the definition of a valuable skill is changing, like right now.
Absolutely. Often white-collar workers felt a bit insulated. Automation was seen as something for the factory floor or the warehouse. But the PXT cuts show that insulation is, well, it's disappearing.
Yeah.
It just highlights how critical it is for everyone to, as the phrase goes, become conversant in AI. But we need to be clear what that actually means in practice.
Right. Does lean into AI mean everyone suddenly needs to become a coder, a machine learning expert? Or is it something different for, say, a manager or an analyst?
I think it's probably two things. First, yes, becoming good at using the AI tools that are emerging. Learning how to prompt, using AI assistants in your daily work, understanding their strengths, and, importantly, their weaknesses and biases.
Okay. Using the tools effectively.
But the second part, which might be even more valuable long-term, is upskilling to actually manage, maintain, or govern the systems that do the automating.
So managing the automation itself. Instead of processing invoices, you're maybe monitoring the AI that processes invoices, checking its work, handling the exceptions.
Precisely. The real pivot for individuals is shifting your skills towards creating, overseeing, or refining these automated systems. Building the models, setting the rules for the AI, maintaining the infrastructure. If you just stay in a traditional role that's being actively targeted for automation, whether that's in HR or warehouse, that's where the risk lies.
Okay, that makes sense. So thinking ahead, what are the key things we and you listening should be watching over the next, say, year or two? This company often sets the trend.
Definitely. First, watch their hiring patterns closely. We should expect to see them slow down hiring for many traditional corporate or operational roles.
Right.
But at the same time, see really aggressive hiring for specialized AI talent, robotics people, cloud infrastructure experts focused on ML. That pattern confirms the strategic shift in resources.
Okay, hiring patterns.
What else? Second, keep a close eye on the wider logistics and fulfillment labor market. That 600,000 number isn't just an internal company figure. It has huge potential ripple effects. If they successfully automate heavily and cut labor costs, competitors almost have to follow suit to stay competitive.
Yeah.
That could fundamentally change wages and job availability in that whole sector.
A potential race to automate in logistics.
Yeah.
Got it. And the third thing.
Third, and maybe the biggest question, will this AI-driven restructuring become the template? If this company pulls it off, cuts significant corporate overhead, potentially displaces a huge chunk of its logistics workforce, and boosts innovation and efficiency through AI, you can bet every other CEO of a large company is going to be studying this playbook very, very carefully.
It sets a powerful precedent, maybe even an alarming one, depending on your perspective.
The scale of the precedent is just,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's like a potential roadmap for how major corporations might operate in an AI-heavy future.
So let's wrap this up. The core takeaway for you today, this big corporate reshaping we're seeing. It seems less about just saving money in the short term and much more about a fundamental strategic re-engineering. Using AI's power to change how the company works from top to bottom, impacting both white-collar and blue-collar roles significantly. Which leads us to a final thought for you to consider. Given this potential scale of automation, remember that 75% target in some areas, what traditional white-collar skill do you think becomes the most valuable? The most indispensable, maybe, in a company that's operating with that much automation?
That's a great question to ponder. Is it, I don't know, complex problem solving? Ethical oversight? Maybe
Hmm.
managing the human AI collaboration itself? We'd genuinely love to hear what you think holds its value.
Absolutely. Let us know your thoughts or any questions you have down in the comments section below this video. We do read them.
And hey, if you found this breakdown useful, if it gave you something to think about regarding these massive shifts, please give the video a like, maybe share it with a colleague or friend who needs to be thinking about this too.
Yeah, and to stay plugged into the latest on AI and its impact, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel Everyday AI Podcast. And make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives where we unpack these critical changes.